Alright guys, before we do the test drive, through the words of wisdom, Psalms 55:22, cast your burdens upon the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken. Alright, just to show you one thing, I didn't do it. Kind of makes a funny noise when it starts up. Check it out. I would suspect that at this point with these miles, what that means is their starter clutch is about to go, or is currently going. Not a huge deal, not a big concern. When it goes, it goes. Maybe I should be concerned about it, I don't know. So if you're wondering what a 100,000 mile road CVO Road King gets in fuel mileage, I was getting 44 miles to the gallon the entire trip, and I was going the speed limit, like cruising at that speed limit, which is way higher than the speed limit in Pennsylvania. You know, we're talking like 75, 80, 85. That's the speed limit around here, and it ran great. If I used to say that if I was going to modify this anymore, it's really not modified at all. I would probably get wider bars, but you know what? These bars were perfect. They really were. They were just absolutely perfect. I will say this: unless you're going like 75 plus, you feel more comfortable. You feel like you have more like instant power, and the RPMs are still super low in 5th gear. Not actually going all the way to 6th gear. Guys, it is so incredibly beautiful out here. The roads up here in Dahlonega and just the whole trip through Tennessee and everything was just amazing. Another awesome thing about this bike, that it's kind of a game changer, guys. If you're doing, it all depends on what type of riding you're doing. But if you're doing long trips, cruise control is awesome. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, you might be like, cruise control on a motorcycle, how does that work out? Well, pretty much it's just like a car works, where you put it in whatever gear you want to, and if you do pretty much anything, if you grab the clutch or the brake or the front brake or the rear brake, or even if you give it too much more throttle, or you actually roll, you see, when you put it on cruise, I'll just do it. All right, now it's on cruise, right? So you're not on the throttle. One great way to give your right hand a good brake, but you can also just rest your hand on here. You can just throw your hand on here, rest it. You're still holding on to the bike. It's still staying in cruise. If something crazy goes down, you want to roll off it, you actually turn. You can pretty much press anything, or you can roll the throttle backwards like this to turn it off. And then you see your little gauge right here will be green when it's on, and then it'll be orange when it's not on. And then come over here and just turn it off. And now keep in mind, this is a 2008. This is an 11-year-old Harley Davidson. It tells all your information right here. You got your range, 99,421 miles. I'm also pretty sure that the CVO bikes come with all steel braided lines. It is a really cool package. If your goal is like, I'm gonna buy a bike, I'm gonna modify it, like do a lot of modifications, it probably makes more sense for you to save up and buy the CVO bike. Now, if you're not, listen, you could be pretty content with just even the the Road King specials, or just the bikes the way they are. You know, they always keep on up in the horsepower. Now, I am not the original owner of this bike. I bought this bike with high miles, and the trip I just took is the longest trip I ever took on it. I don't think it'll be my last, because I really did enjoy the bike. I mentioned about those headlights. All right, I already mentioned that. So this one's set up with a backrest. Backrest is a kind of a lifesaver if you might have back problems and you need that little. I thought it was great. It also comes with a windshield. I'm not a big fan of windshields, especially in the summertime. When it gets hot outside, I want as much wind hitting me in the chest and in the face and cooling me down as it possibly can. So this of course has crash bars, and it's got highway pegs put on it. That was a lifesaver, because anytime you're riding a bike for too long, you're always looking for a different way to put your feet. So this, I would say you have 3 different ways, unless you have someone on the back and then you don't. Put your feet up on the highway pegs, on the floorboards, or throw your feet back here. I was doing a lot of this. 1 foot back here, 1 foot up there. Man, it was just comfortable. A good way to kick back. This is not my first extremely high mileage Harley Davidson. My other Road King I sold with 117 on it with the 88 cubic inch. It's still rolling strong. There's no reason that this bike is not going to do the distance. And anytime you factor in, yeah, okay, stuff's gonna break down. That's life. Stuff breaks down on brand new bikes too. You know what I mean? So stuff will break down. But if you just make sure that the thing's been checked out and the oils have changed and it's not leaking when you left. Mine might have been leaking when I left. It's gonna be fine. But the other part about it is that's part of the journey. You know what I mean? Stuff's gonna break down. That's life. It always happens. But that's part of the fun. But it's still, in most cases, if you had to rebuild this whole motor from scratch, let's say you're riding it and something goes bad and you have no compression or just feeling kind of sluggish and you're like, all right, I want to get a new bike. If your bike still looks good, if you've been taking care of it and you've not been like letting the maintenance go, and it doesn't need like tires and like 20 other things, because you've been actually taking care of your bike, what? Go to Harley Davidson, see what it costs to rebuild the motor. Better than it was brand new. I don't know, 3,000 bucks. That's probably about what you were gonna put down on your next Harley, and your next Harley costs $20,000. That's still cheaper than buying a brand new Harley. And this goes to show these bikes do last for a long time. You don't need to be trading in your Harley every 20,000 miles or 15,000 miles. Guys, if you never get a chance to go riding in the Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina area, beautiful, beautiful riding, lots of trees, lots of windy roads. I saw tons of bikers out here, tons of Harleys, tons of Ultras, tons of Gold Wings, just everything. I think we're about an hour and a half away from the tail of the Dragon, which I think is 300 some miles, 300 some turns and 11 mile, and they're all 15 mile an hour turns. It's a blast. It's an amazing ride if you never got a chance to do it. We're also near Blood Mountain. Well, we're probably about an hour and 2 hours away from Blood Mountain, which is a lot of fun. A lot of good riding around here. All right, guys, so that is my extremely high mileage Harley Davidson Road King. I do love this bike. This thing's a blast to drive. We're gonna go take it to the shop, get it all checked out and see what it needs, and we'll see you guys later. Don't forget to check out the website, Srkcycles.com, and remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.